Hello and welcome. It's here, it's back, it's the semi-finals of the Book It tournament. I am your host, the GOAT, David Campbell, and what a first round it was. Matches, we saw it was great. People going out with the thinnest of margins, but we've seen 4 victors advance to the semi-final stage. Next time, in our next video, you will be looking at the match that will happen. It's going to be Stephen Wilson versus the Savage, known as Strack. That'll be a match for the ages. But today, we have a contest between 2 pillars of this podcast, 2 giants of Eat, Sleep, Suplex Retweet. It is the story between 2 men who have been here since the very early days, and I can't wait to get them on. Without further ado, don't forget, go and check out our main feeds on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to the ESSR feature show where we discuss historical content, focus on specific things, or you can go and check out ESSR Central. You know, it's our show every week where we run through the world of professional wrestling and give our thoughts on the news of the day. It's a very fun time, a very civilized time, you know, not the show that might suit me. You're thinking, heck, check out everything else on this YouTube channel. You know, we have so much good content on here. Quiz Showdown, check out me talking absolute crap on the conspiracy theory. But without further ado, let's get my competitors in. And introducing first, he is the man who's been here since day one. SH. He is the hat-wearing maniac himself. Please welcome to the show, it is Mr. David Haughney. Dave, it's so good to see you here. It's so good to have you. How are you doing? How are you feeling right now?
I'm a little bit nervous, I'm not going to lie, because that last round against Ryan was a bit of an uphill battle, and I think this one's going to be even harder. I
think, yeah, like that's the thing, you know, you were competing against Ryan last time. It was a very hard time. At the time of recording, Dave, you are the current ESSR champion, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
That's right. Yep,
yes.
8 times now.
You're coming in here with a lot to prove, with a legacy. You know, you've won a lot of things in this podcast. You have won sweeps, you have won quizzes, co-host of Saturday Draft Live, a show near and dear to my heart. Today, we're going to be discussing tag team wrestling. How are you feeling about that? What's your experience with tag teams? Have you been a huge tag team fan?
I am a fan of tag team wrestling. I sort of think back, the earliest I can remember is probably around WrestleMania 2000, where we had that triangle ladder match, which then evolved into TLC. And I'm using that as somewhat, not to give too much away, but I'm using that as somewhat of an inspiration for the basis of my card today.
Nice, absolutely. And just to confirm, you will be using the legendary tag team known as the Highlanders today, I take it, yes?
I can't be a bit of Rory and Robbie, they're good lads.
Exactly. Well, Dave, it's time. It was good talking to you, but it's time to meet your opponent. Introducing second. At the time of recording, he is a former 3-time ESSR champion, a former Quiz Showdown champion. He is the company man of WWE. Please welcome Mr. Ross McLeod. Ross, it's so good to have you on here. The man who defends WWE to the hilt against the marks. You know, you are the Mark Massacrer, if that is even a word. How do you feel about going into today? Obviously, a tough last round against Jack Graham. We saw how intense that contest got, how tightly down to the wire it went. How are you feeling about going up against David Haughney today? How's that a different challenge?
I mean, it just screams that you wanted me out the last round, the fact that you fact-checked David Haughney's card the night before for him, because they know that Jack Graham absolutely, and I'm going to just laugh down the camera at the moment, if you'll just give me a moment, Jack, this is to you. That was directed at Jack Graham, who just absolutely effed it. Well, I'm not going to swear, I'm not going to lower myself to the level that Jack Graham's at. He absolutely did. Scott McLeod in the first round, absolutely did. Against Strack, for Christ's sake. Strack hasn't watched wrestling since 1999. And now we've got the other Saturday Draft Live boy, and it just screams the show you created, David Campbell, the show he now, drags along like Undertaker in the last 4 years of his career. It just screams that you want that show not to be embarrassed, and I am all that stands in the way of that.
Dave, Ross is throwing some barbs here. Do you have any retort to what your opponent has said in this early stage?
Oh, look, I'm just disappointed that I'm not going up against my Saturday Draft Live co-host Jack, because he's a good lad. He's my guy on Saturday Draft Live, and I have a ton of respect for him. But instead, fate has dealt me a hand where I'm stuck with Vince Rosso instead.
Very good indeed. Well, just to remind you guys of the rules of this contest, 7 matches, up to 5 segments as well. You will be booking a tag team classic pay-per-view. Now, what does that entail? You can use all of your tag teams from any promotion around the world to put on an amazing display of tag wrestling. You can reunite tag teams as long as both competitors are still active. You must have one tag team break up at your event, and you must have a return from a retired legendary tag team. That is the brief. Just come to both of you briefly before we kick this off. Ross, coming to you first this time. How did you feel when you were given that brief? Confident? As confident as the last time with your Attitude Era one? How are you feeling?
I think what I've tried to do, and you'll see it when I present my card, I've tried to stick, because it is a Dusty Classic, although not knockout, I've tried to stick to mostly WWE teams. There's like 1 or 2 teams from certain promotions who have been invited in, but I've tried to stick to WWE to try to give myself a wee bit of a challenge with it. And I haven't sent it to you in advance because there is 2 segments in here that I know you're going to absolutely love. They have literally F all to do with the tag tournament itself, but they are 2 segments you're going to love.
Nice, thank you for that. Play to know who your audience is. That is a very good shout. Dave, come to you now. How did you approach it? Were you similar to Ross, or did you take a different stab at this?
I've actually taken a bit more of a more ambitious approach. Like, I've tried to get in as many recognizable tag teams as possible, but it's not going to be a tournament format either. This is going to be something that brings all the major promoters together in somewhat a bit of a, I'd say, in a sort of a fun way, but with a lot riding on the line at the same time.
Nice. I like what I'm hearing, gentlemen. I flipped my coin before we came on air today. It is Ross who will be going first this time around with his pay-per-view. Ross, are you ready? Oh, Ross is muted. Ross, we cannot hear you.
Sorry, what I was saying was... I'm going to set myself, easy for me to say, a set timer this time, because last time I went over and that cost me a point, so I only managed to beat Jack by 1 point, as opposed to the clear 2 points, or even 17, or maybe 23 points. That I would quite clearly. I mean, we don't know when this is going out, guys. We could be even further ahead, for Christ's sake.
Well, listen, we're going to take Dave off screen. I'll be going off screen as well momentarily. And Ross, it's time to book it. Your 10 minutes starts now.
Hello. So we begin this with the usual Dusty Classic style opening. They're honouring the man who basically helped NXT find its feet. And, we're in the Capital Wrestling Centre. We've got fans back because, we live in a world where that is possible. And I'm just going to let you know some of the teams I have in this tournament ahead of time, because we see the opening package. We see the Mysterios. We see Breezango. We see Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. We see Adam Cole and Roderick Strong. We see AOP. We see the Motor City Machine Guns. We see the Street Profits. We see Private Party. We see the New Day. We see FTR. We see the Usos. We see The Way, and we see Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. And each of them talks about the effect in either Impact or the Indies or in NXT that Dusty Rhodes had on them. And it begins, we start off NXT tag team as usual. The Mysterios come to the ring. They're going to be in our opening match. And they're going to take on, managed by Paul Ellering, AOP. AOP, Akam and Razor walk into the ring. They walk to the ring. Dominic shows his inexperience. As soon as the bell rings, he runs right for AOP. Both of them just take him down, throw him aside. Dominic is basically out of this match, and in 2 minutes, AOP, because of Dominic's inexperience, just beat the holy hell out of Rey Mysterio. AOP, 1, 2, 3, a short, snappy, shorter than this explanation finish for AOP. AOP winning the opening match of the show. We go backstage and Bobby Roode looks concerned as Dolph Ziggler lies in a heap on the floor. Dolph Ziggler's been taken out. They think it's the way. They're going to be facing Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode later on tonight. Adam Pearce says he may need to find a new partner, or if Bobby Roode can't find a new partner, he may have to find a new team. In walks Billie Kay, and she hands Adam Pearce her resume, and she says, if you'll check my resume, you'll see I have tag team champion and Wrestlemania tag team title winner on my resume. She offers to be Bobby Roode's new partner. Bobby Roode looks at her with a look as if Billie Kay has just shut in his kettle, and he walks off outraged. From shocking opening matches to shocking people being taken out to shocking the system, that's right. We're going to go Undisputed Era versus Undisputed Era. Adam Cole and Roderick Strong v Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. You need to give this match 25 minutes. Every single iteration of this team, from Fish and O'Reilly coming in and winning the tag titles almost instantly, to Cole, Fish and O'Reilly being the War Games guys, to Cole and O'Reilly winning the Dusty Classic, from Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly taking the tag division further than it could ever have went, and to Adam Cole and Roderick Strong this year, at the time of recording, featuring in NXT's Dusty Classic. I think you've got to give this match an absolute barn burner, and I think in the end, Dave loves him, I love him, you all hate to admit you love him because he's now in NXT, but Adam Cole and Roderick Strong have got to come out the winners here. Roderick Strong is the best wrestler of the group, and Adam Cole is the golden child of NXT. So I'm going to have Adam Cole and Roderick Strong defeating Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. We're then going to go from one great match to another great match, which I think could be absolutely stellar. We're going to have the Motor City Machine Guns going up against Breezango. Motor City Machine Guns in about 15 minutes managed to see off Breezango thanks to a mistake where Fandango is on the top rope. Breeze tries to climb back into the ring. He shakes the ropes by mistake. Fandango falls. Motor City Machine Guns manage to capitalise on the advantage. They pick up the win. After the match, Fandango and Breeze, they're a bit anxious. They're a bit angry. Breeze brings the conversation back down. He brings the situation back down. He offers a fist bump, and as Fandango offers his fist, Breeze clocks him right in the jaw. Tyler Breeze is back. He doesn't need Breezango, and he is done with it. That is the team I will have breaking up. Breezango. This actually came from, just a wee sidebar, me watching NXT the other night and thinking there is nothing unique looking about Tyler Breeze at the minute. From a guy who used to be NXT's most unique character, I think now he just looks like Create a Wrestler number 4. And I'm going to have him go back to Prince Pretty. He's done with Fandango. We then see the next match coming up is going to be Private Party versus Street Profits. Private Party, a team who came in AEW with all the comparisons to the Street Profits, all the comparison to you're just a rip-off Street Profits, or Street Profits are just a rip-off Private Party. I think letting those guys get in the ring together and showing that they have their own style and their own clash of worlds, their own style and their own uniqueness, and having those worlds come together, I think would be much better than just having them separately on the card, because then you're still going to have people going, oh, well, they're the same team, blah, blah, blah. Private Party managed by Matt Hardy. Well, Street Profits, they're going to get the mind games in early. They're going to be managed tonight by Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's going to accompany them to the ring. He's going to nullify the Matt Hardy advantage. And in 15 minutes, well, I'm sorry, but the original always does it better. Street Profits defeat Private Party. We then go backstage. Adam Pearce is on the phone. He's saying Bobby Roode. He's speaking to Stephanie McMahon. He's saying Bobby Roode still hasn't found a partner. In walks Billie Kay with an unenthusiastic Peyton Royce. Billy Kay says, I found a willing tag team partner. At the word willing, Peyton Royce rolls her eyes as if to say, I've just gotten away from you. Leave me alone. Adam Pearce then reiterates that this is the men's Dusty Classic and the women's will be at a later date. At this notion, Billy Kay says, fine, well, here's a copy of my resume. As you'll see, tag team and works well with others is on the resume. And she walks away, leaving a stunned Peyton Royce and Adam Pearce. Next match, I don't need to tell you, 20 minutes, been there, done it. FTR versus the New Day. I think these guys had some great matches at the end of, I believe, 2019 on SmackDown Live. I don't need to sell anything else to you with those guys. We then have Bobby Roode waiting at the top of the ramp as a cocky way of Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory laugh in the ring. They think they have a bye. They think they're going to have a handicap match. Well, sorry about your damn luck. Everyone's seen it coming. James Storm, who is wasted on the Indies. He's wasted in TNA. He's done his time there. James Storm makes his way to the ring, and we have a reunition of beer money, reunition. Yes, that is a word. I'm going to start using it so it sounds like a word. It's not me slabbering over my own slabbers here. Beer money defeat the way, as this is the way. Simple, sharp, to the point, 10 minutes, and beer money, they're back. Does raise the question, though, what happens with Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode? Because as in this timeline and in the real timeline, they are the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. So something that Wade Barrett brings to the viewers' attention, something that the NXT commentary team bring to the attention. How will this work out going forward? Main event time. The Usos are in the ring. The Usos talk about how they don't care that beer money are back. They don't care who Private Party are. They don't care about the Morset machine guns. They don't care about any iteration of the Undisputed Era. They've had the tag team division on lockdown since day one, SH, and they will continue to have day one on lockdown. And as they are rambling incoherently about the teams they have beaten over the years, New Day beat them, American Alpha beat them, the lights go out, the gong hits, the flames come up, and appearing on the stage, the Brothers of Destruction making their way to the ring. The Brothers of Destruction, I think, are a team that deserve a better send-out than Saudi Arabia ever gave them. So I'm going to have them go up against the Usos here. The Usos will carry the match, but in the end, it's going to be a big splash gone wrong. And Undertaker is going to sit up, catch one of the Usos, lift them high up in the air, 1, 2, 3, and we are going to have the Brothers of Destruction close out Ross McLeod's version of the Dusty Rhodes Classic. 1, 2, 3, there are winners.
Very, very good, Ross. Very good. I love that. Oh, I have some questions for you for after David Haughney's done his card, but I have to say, grinning from ear to ear, your segments, you weren't lying. Very much enjoyed them, but we are going to go over to your opponent, Dave. Ross, by the way, you were under the 10-minute mark. Just a very good use of your time in there. So, Dave, you need to do the same should you not want to incur a point penalty. Dave, your time will start now.
Okay, so this is going to be the Wrestling World Tag Team Classic Ultimate Showcase, which is going to be the title. The venue, Madison Square Garden. Commentators for the show will be Michael Cole, Tony Schiavone, and Matt Striker. So the story behind this event is that all the major promoters, WWE, AEW, Impact, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, have come together to assemble their best tag teams in order to put an ultimate showcase, hence the title, of tag team wrestling. For the main event, each owner has agreed to wager $1 million and selects a tag team to represent their promotion in a take one chance style match. The winning team wins the full $4 million pot for their respective company, whilst the undercard is going to feature a showcase of tag teams and a series of inter-promotional matches, as opposed to like a Dusty Cup style tournament. So the show kicks off with the first segment of the night, where the ring announcer, Justin Roberts, welcomes the special guest commissioner for this event, Teddy Long. He cuts a promo to the audience, joking about how tonight he is finally in his happy place, and has hyped up that all the world's greatest tag teams have come together to put on the ultimate showcase. And we'll go straight into our first match, where he actually greets the first tag team to appear on stage, which is Private Party. And they're going to be starting off match 1, which is going to be a tag team turmoil match featuring 8 teams across all the 4 promotions, where the winner earns a future tag team title match in their respective company. So Private Party starts off the match, and they go through the first 2 teams, which will be the North and Grizzled Young Veterans. Out comes the 4th team, the Street Profits. Now, these 2 are the ones that put on the best clash of this match. But unfortunately, the Street Profits edge out a win over Private Party, having already gone through 2 teams already. 5th team that comes out, SEU. So a bit more interpromotional confrontation on that front. The Street Profits put up a hell of a fight, but SEU just edges out the win. Up next, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, Undisputed Era, or as they formerly known as Red Dragon. Like, they have an absolute barn burner with SEU. Again, just eking out the win with the high-low combination. Fish and O'Reilly are running strong here. But then Kyle O'Reilly's face drops, much like in that 4-way ladder match at TakeOver 25, when out of nowhere is the returning Viking Raiders. And as we know, these 2 teams have history with each other in NXT. So Ivar's back from his neck injury, and the Viking Raiders run rampant on Undisputed Era, knocking out a win, no problem. Now it comes to the final team now, Dangerous Techers. And this is going to be the highlight of this match. The Viking Raiders and the Dangerous Techers go at it full on, with a match time finishing of 35 minutes, 18 seconds, the winners and new contenders for the Raw Tag Team titles, the Viking Raiders. Segment 2, we're going to tone it down a bit now. So the Iconics, who have been agreed to represent WWE in this event, are reunited and come out cutting a promo claiming that we put women's tag team wrestling on the map. Iconic! But out comes to challenge them the new TNA Knockout champions, Fire and Flavor. Now, it was a relatively short match. This is it's a showcase of women's tag team wrestling and how TNA has actually cemented it by bringing back the Knockouts tag titles. So Fire and Flavor get this one with a match time of 10 minutes, 13 seconds. Match 3 is going to be a bit of a cool down, but against 2 established tag teams. We have Mustache Mountain versus the Ring of Honor tag team champions, the Foundation. A nice solid back and forth match, no complaints here, but the Foundation get the win in this one. Up next, we return to an AEW versus Impact style feud where we have the Lucha Brothers from AEW versus the Good Brothers. Now, in this feud, the Good Brothers already have the upper hand with this partnership between AEW and Impact, but in this case, the Lucha Brothers will be equalizing with a sneaky roll-up after a very back-and-forth contest. So after a respectable 14 minutes, 34 seconds, the Lucha Brothers eke out the win against the Good Brothers. But now we're going to step it up a notch, because the match 5 is going to be a steel cage match between 2 brotherly duos, the Usos and the Briscoes. Now, this is going to be Jimmy's first match back from injury, and he wants to prove himself to the head of the table, Roman Reigns, as well as his brother Jay, to say that he's still got it. Now, and this is going to be the match of the night, based on a combination of storytelling, spectacular spots, and sheer-out brutality. And the Usos have not lost their rhythm at any point. There's throwing into the cage, a lot of high-flying, but Jimmy wins the match with a superfly splash off the top of the cage. So the Usos eke out this win after 24 minutes, 33 seconds. Roman stares at the top of the ramp, nodding of approval, and he accepts Jimmy as part of, the Bloodline family. Segment 3 now. We cut to Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, where Ziggler is absolutely furious about not being featured in this event. And he claims that he's been Roode's best ever tag team partner, and because of him that they're multiple time tag team champions in WWE. So Ziggler goes off an absolute tirade, ranting and raving about how he should be in the main event and not any of these teams. But out of nowhere, Dolph Ziggler is hit over the head with a bottle, and the camera cuts to Cowboy James Storm. He and Roode say nothing to each other. They just take a moment, look at each other, and just acknowledge each other, where then James Storm produces 2 beer bottles and hands one of them to Roode. They cheers with a smile and just walk away, leaving Ziggler unconscious on the floor. What does this mean for Ziggler and Roode? We'll just have to wait and see. Match 6 now, and it is the FTR is inviting any tag team's champions from any promotion to compete with them in a brush with greatness. And the team that answers the call is the IWGP Tag Team Champions, Gorillas of Destiny. Clocking in at 21 minutes, 15 seconds. This is going to be a clash of two of the greatest tag teams that the world has to offer. But getting the win for this time around is Gorillas of Destiny. No shame in FTR losing this one because they've had the chance to clash with another promotion's champions. Segment 4, and this is where we build up to the main event now. We see the return of a retired legendary tag team. Oh, two legendary tag teams, I should say. Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys. They come out to hype up the main event, which is the Take One Chance match. And they say the stipulation for this match is one that they made famous. And now it's time for these teams to take this chance and do their companies proud. They hang the grand prize of $4 million in the briefcase above the ring, and it's going to be a tables, ladders, and chairs match. The Take One Chance TLC match, where each promoter has wagered $1 million in this match. Winning team takes the lot. Representing WWE, we have the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. From AEW, the Young Bucks. From Impact Wrestling, the Motor City Machine Guns. And from New Japan Pro Wrestling, reluctantly reuniting for the sake of increasing New Japan's worldwide status, Los Ingobernadores de Japón, aka Evil and Sanada. Now, this match is going to be all-out carnage. Chairs will be flying everywhere, tables are being broke, people jumping off turnbuckles, jumping off ladders, and it's going to be absolute anarchy. Evil and Sanada set up a ladder. It looks like they're on the verge of winning, but unfortunately, pride gets the better of them, and their bickering allows Motor City Machine Guns to capitalize. And it looks like they're both at the top of the ladder. They're both about to pull off an incredible win until Chris Sabin pushes Alex Shelley off the ladder to the outside, signifying the breakup of the Motor City Machine Guns. And with this development, the Young Bucks have capitalized and they take the $4 million from the briefcase. Clocking in at just over 30 minutes for this match, the winners are the Young Bucks. And in closing, what's just happened? The Motor City Machine Guns have just split. The Elite, Kenny Omega and the Bucks, pose with Chris Sabin at the top of the ramp, who has now declared his defection to AEW. Chris Sabin has claimed he is bitter at Alex Shelley for abandoning him at Hard to Kill when they went up against Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers. And that's when he realizes that Kenny Omega and the Elite would never, ever desert each other. So he ends up joining them for that sense of unity under the AEW banner. And whilst there is a currently working agreement between AEW and Impact, this surprise defection has just made the war between them that little bit more personal. The camera to black.
Interesting. Cut to black, fade to black. Very, very cinematic of you, Dave, in the end. Also under time. Also a very, very interesting card. Both of you came to play with this one. Looking at my notes, I have a couple of questions for you both. I'm going to give you time to comment on each other's cards this time as well. Maybe try and sway my opinion either way. But I have some personal questions to each of you about your cards to start off with. Ross, I'll start with you. My biggest question going in, and perhaps even like my biggest negative maybe, is opening match, a squash, AOP going over the Mysterios very easily. What is your decision behind that? How will this, is this a reintroduction to AOP? Does it need to be this way? Why was it the opening match? Like, what was your justification behind that opening?
So, any justification would have been if you've ever seen any AOP NXT match. Acronyms galore there. That Paul Ellering is always on them. You know, there's no let up. There's no let up. So as soon as they have a 2-on-1 advantage, they're not going to let up. Like, they're going to brutalize Rey Mysterio. And I think, yeah, it is a reintroduction, but it also plays on. I was trying to challenge myself with only taking a couple of other promotions tag teams and at the same time trying to keep into the current universe we have now in WWE.
Okay.
And I think Dominic's inexperience is something that is happening on TV just now. So I wanted to put it on my card as opposed to just being like, let's just have, like, I deliberately did not pick the Young Bucks. deliberately did not pick the Young Bucks. And when I wrote my card out, I was like, I cannot not have FTR on here, because I think they should still be in WWE. I think the WWE dropped the ball with them. So I think that was the only sort of indulgence I let myself have.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Like the other question I would have is your breakup. Interesting, Machine Gun versus Breezango. Where would you see Tyler Breeze going after this pay-per-view? Obviously, a 15 minutes match against the Machine Guns is an interesting one. What was your thinking behind that breakup there?
I think after having 25 minutes Undisputed Era, I didn't really think any time would matter, and I felt having AOP squash Rey Mysterio in the opening match would be a bit, oh Jesus, right, okay. Like, and I always think that visual as well, just to answer the last question, of the big guy beating up the smaller guy is always such a visual, like, because it makes them look that much stronger because they're throwing them a bit like a wet paper bag. But with Breezango, again, using real world aspects, I felt recently that Breeze he doesn't look unique. He doesn't look even when he's on his own in 205 Live, he's still wearing the Breezango gear. Like, there's nothing special about him at the minute. I personally don't think. He's cut his hair, his locks are gone. The selfie sticks away, the trim, the boots and all that is away. I think he just looks like another guy. If you hadn't told me that was, put it this way, my eyesight's terrible. If I was watching the TV with my glasses on, I probably wouldn't know that was Tyler Breeze.
Fair.
I think Breezango can be a comedy character on his own. Because their names are put together, I kept doing that on the show. Because Fandango could be a comedy character on his own, akin to like R-Truth maybe, or can be the serious wrestler Johnny Curtis. I think he does have options as well, but I think Tyler Breeze is just that much more of a star. Look at, but put it this way, Jushin Thunder Liger, has had one match in WWE. Triple H got to handpick his opponent and he picked Tyler Breeze. Like, he came into the main roster of WWE. He beat Dolph Ziggler back when that meant something, before it just became a rite of passage to NXT people. So he's always had that, star quality about him. Just somewhere down the way, WWE dropped the ball with him. And I think my hope would be, in my universe, that they go forward with him again.
Interesting. Thank you for the answers to those questions, Ross. I appreciate it. And Dave, I have some similar questions for you here. One match that I was interested in, because you've went for a lot of star power here, Mustache Mountain versus the Foundation. Justify for me that match's place on the card. Why would this one fit in with all of the tag teams that you already have going on here?
See, this was a tricky one to book because I think it was important to try and get as many, at time of recording, I wanted to get as many tag team champions from various promotions on the card. And at time of recording, the Foundation are Ring of Honor tag team champions. So I think it would be a bit of an injustice for these smaller promotions to try and not have their way on the card. So I figured it would be best to feature them in some way against an established tag team who has had a big presence, particularly with the British scene in WWE, because that's still a growing brand at this stage. I decided not to put any titles on the line either, because I think the main event of itself, it was just a coming together of promotions, and I think there was too much complication involved to say if a tag team championship were to change hands between two teams of different promotions. So this felt more like an exhibition match, just to sort of pace the show out nicely, have a bit of a cool down, but still be able to squeeze in some excellent tag team wrestling ahead of, we just saw a tag team turmoil match open up the night. And then between that, we've also had a steel cage match. So having that nice, slow-paced, grounded tag team wrestling, I think between two very good teams, I think that was just for the sake of pacing the show and, not going too overboard with every single match.
Nice. I like it. The other question I have is this. your legendary tag team that returned. It was Edge and Christian, basically, effectively. You didn't have them compete. Mm-hmm. Would it maybe have been better to have a legendary tag team come back and take part in the show in terms of having a match like Ross did at his card?
I also considered that as a possibility, but the way I was sort of looking at it, I was looking forward towards the current teams of today versus possible tag teams of the future. Now, it's always good to acknowledge the past in some way or another. I felt having Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys, symbolize the use of the TLC stipulation would probably been more suitable, given that, Christian is pretty much settled in retirement. Edge is somewhat still a singles competitor, as is Jeff Hardy. Matt Hardy's role has been somewhat limited as well, but I think it would be an injustice not to have them have some role in the main event, but not necessarily competing, because we all know how effective they were introducing the tables, ladders, and chairs stipulation. You could say backstage as well, we had the legendary tag team of Beer Money, but in some ways they're both still active, so I didn't really consider that as a legendary team retired. But I think for the purposes of focusing on the current tag teams we have today, I think it was better that the retired legendary team had more of a symbolic role in this case.
Interesting.
Can I ask the question? I thought with retired legendary team, you meant like both men not active anymore, because Jeff Hardy is very much still active, Matt Hardy is very much still active, so and the Hardy Boys aren't retired, so that's not a
to be fair, Edge and Christian was the tag team that he listed.
Edge isn't retired.
No, Christian's retired though.
Retired.
See, Christian wrestled on Raw in the summer.
See, I'm thinking outside the box here, because the retired legendary tag team, you're not going to see Edge and Christian compete together anymore, because I think it's safe to say Christian is now retired and Edge is still.
You think that? But I thought that was safe to say in the summer, and he wrestled Randy Orton.
That was kind of an unsanctioned match. Guys, it was more about a booking.
Stop you both right there. I checked the matches beforehand. I've checked the cards beforehand. The rules go: Edge and Christian is a legendary tag team. They were taking a place in the show. It fulfilled the criteria. We're not going to get into that. That aside, I will now give you each 1 minute to tell me why your card is better than your opponent's card. All right, 1 or 2 minutes here. Ross, let's start with you. Why do you have the better card than Dave's? Why should you walk out if you're the winner?
I think I managed to dazzle you without using too many big names. I managed to bring the legendary tag team back to right or wrong of real life WWE. I tried to also remain within the perimeters of real life WWE. I mean, I was originally going to have my retired guy my comeback was going to be Seth Rollins is taken out and Roman Reigns needs a partner, and he called in Dean Ambrose, but I think that the lunatic return's already been done. I've used an actual retired team. I've not used too many stipulations. I think Dave's is a bit more, much like Jack's when we did the Monday Night War one. It was very much, bang, 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 this match, that match, this match, that match. I think that sort of card won completely. Like, the audience is dead after one big match, and it'll take a while to recover, so certain matches aren't going to get the respect they deserve. And two, when you're going to have those big matches and just have your two legendary tag teams appear on screen like, hello, the fans are going to be like, what was the point in bringing them here? Like, what was the, you'll have your positive people, reviewers like Simon Miller, who maybe go, oh, well, it was nice to see them there, so it's an up. But no, it's a down because they didn't wrestle.
Let's not throw shade at Simon Miller here, Ross. All right.
No, I like Simon Miller. That's why I did your positive reviewers.
So thank you for that, Ross. Dave, same to you. Why should you get the victory? Be handed the W, be handed the path to the final of the first ever Booker T tournament. Why should you get it?
Well, simply because tag team wrestling isn't just restricted to WWE. There are loads of promotions out there, especially big promotions, that have put a focus on tag team wrestling. Like Impact have just brought back their TNA Knockouts Championship. That's why I had to have the Knockouts champion on the card. So we have male teams and female teams competing on this roster. And with the 4 major promotions all investing their time and money into making this the ultimate showcase of tag team talent, they've got the resources to pull off some pretty big matches with inter-promotions between different teams of different companies. I'm trying to get the plan I had was to have a big match at the start, big match in the middle, and a big match at the end. Like, that's sort of how a well-paced show tends to work. And the matches in the middle, well, yes, it tends to be a bit of a cool down and the audience can be exhausted, but they can put their feet up and relax and just sort of enjoy themselves rather than having to worry about, is every match going to be great? Because I think, wrestling fans are smart enough to realize that, for a good show to take place, they have to be well-paced. And I think my booking of it justifies, the start at the end, where we start off with a nice big flurry of tag teams saying, oh, look, there's them. And then it finishes with, a very popular team from a major promotion splitting up and defecting to another side, which they already have a partnership with. So it just furthers the storyline for that front.
Okay.
I would say, sorry, can I point one thing out? Like Dave's explanation of, oh, there's them. Essentially, you've just originally opened your card with the tag team version of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So, you mentioned the women, you mentioned the Knockouts tag team champions being on with with one of my backstage segments. I set up the Women's Dusty Classic. Adam Pearce told Billy Kay, go away. The Women's Tag Classic is at a later date. Leave me alone. And also another point, my Australian accent was better.
I'll give you that.
That was noted. It was noted, to be fair. Not enough to get you like an official point. Now, I'm going to run through this because I think I have made a decision, but I want to get the thoughts clear in my mind here. One of the criteria that you had to have was that you had to have a tag team breakup at your event. For that one, I go with David Haughney. Ross, I did like your explanation for the Breezango breakup, and I don't think it's a bad breakup. I, for one, am a fan of Tyler Breeze and what he did back in the day. You can hear that in our NXT, classic takeover reviews. But Dave's was just bigger. It felt bigger in scope. It played into an overall story. It was a big story of his event. He played that.
He wasn't betrayed. They were on a break.
Dave, you pick up a point there. But Ross, you get it right back. The other criteria was you have to have a retired legendary tag team return. You had your legendary tag team go into your main event. Now, the quality of the main events we might compare later on, but in terms of the return of the legendary tag teams, I think that yours was better. I do actually agree with you on the point of Dave's. I would have liked to have seen him use a tag team in a wrestling capacity, one that could maybe still go. I'm surprised that none of you brought back like the Midnight Express or something like that. You know what I mean?
No. I'm not Jim Cornette. I couldn't give a shit.
So that is what I would go for there. We're at 1-1 at that point. Both of you used Beer Money Incorporated. Ross's use of Beer Money Incorporated was better. Ross had Beer Money compete in a match. Both members of Beer Money can still go in the ring. I think it was a bit of a waste, Dave, to have Beer Money, in that capacity, not competing. That is why I would put Ross up 2-1 at that point. Now, just going through your cards and comparing them. The opening match, again, Ross, you justified it pretty well, but Dave's opening match just sounds better, more exciting, celebrates tag team wrestling. In the sense, I get what you're saying about it being crowded, but it's some of the best tag teams that we want to see. If you can't get them all in stories, get them all in this big opening match, open the card strong, which is why I would go 2-2 at that point. It's hard to separate you on the FTR matches. I think they are one of the biggest tag teams in the world. I wouldn't try and compare that. It's like comparing apples to oranges, to be honest to me. I think FTR versus Guerrillas of Destiny is a great match. FTR versus New Day, while we have seen it before, is also something that I would be very interested in seeing. So I would give you the win. I would give both of you a point there. So 3 points to 3. Iconics both used by each of you. Ross, your segments were glorious. Your segments were wonderful. Your accent was better. But Dave, you also had the Iconics competing. And I do feel that having some women's representation, Ross, while you would have it in another show, Knockouts Tag Team title was a fairly new thing. I think that was pretty good. Both of you, can't separate you there. 4 points to 4. Where I will separate you and give someone else a point is, I think that Private Party versus the Profits with a Hardy in each corner is an ingenious match. That is great booking, and it's better than what I would call a similar match. You have a match 3 here, Dave Mustache Mountain versus the Foundation, that I didn't like as much. I didn't like that as much. It just felt empty. It felt filler. So Ross would go up 5-4 at that point. We look at it now, though. I do have to give you both props and compare 2 matches that I feel would be the work rate matches of both your shows. And that is Lucha Brothers versus Good Brothers, and the Undisputed Era match against each other. Okay? I think both of them, very good booking. Ross, very clever booking with the Undisputed Era one. I think Lucha versus Good Brothers, you have that contrast of styles that would be extremely good. That would be great. I'm very happy with that. Very happy with what you both did there. So Ross is still up by 1. Again, can't separate you because Usos versus Briscoes, I was actually going to ignore the Briscoes match because of their controversy and what happened in the past, but reading up on it, he has apologised for what he did. Donated lots of money to charities. You know, he was playing in the character. The controversy about the Briscoes didn't take that as a factor. Steel cage against the Usos is great. Great to see a beer money back versus the way. Ross is still up by 1. It comes down to the main event again, people. And Ross, I commend you for putting your legendary tag team in a match. However, Dave has a TLC match that he set up really well there. He's got legends of the TLC match out to introduce it. High stakes, money on the line, very interesting, stipulation. The turn, the angle at the end.
Who's booked this tournament, Dr. Evil? $4 million. And also, hold on. If Alex Shelley and the Sabin win it, even if he's diverted, Impact have still won.
No, Young Bucks won. Young Bucks won.
Oh, did they? Sorry,
Bucks win, yeah.
So anyway, Dave wins the main event, which leaves me in a bit of a pickle because now I need to try and judge the show holistically to try and separate the winner here, which shows you how close it is that I'm using words like fucking holistically.
I used reunition earlier.
He did, yeah. He did
Right, it's going to come down to this, Ross. I think you played within your parameters very, very well. I think that your idea was strong. I think your card was executed very well. Like Dave's card, I'd be interested in all your matches. Dave, the one thing that you have better was this concept that runs throughout the entire show. And it feels like a story from beginning to end with the entire show. Something you can build up to, something that Ross did with his Attitude Era show in the last round that I thought worked really well. And that was the basis on which I gave him the win the last time. So on that same basis, I'm sending David Haughney through to the final of the Booker tournament. A very, very, very hard-fought contest. Before I come to you, Dave, you're clearly breathless over there, so take a wee minute, get a wee drink or something. Ross, it comes down to the closest of margins. How are you feeling about what happened here today?
Well, as Dave lights a fag and gets his breath back there, I just said that again.
Here's a pen.
In case my mic cut out when I said light a fag while we were all talking and it just sounded like I said something else, I make sure to say the joke again. I'm not getting put on the Briscoe Brothers banned list.
Not when I'm wearing this t-shirt. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Wow, he really went for him after that loss. I think I tried not to use bigger, like other teams. I felt if I used other teams, I think it would have been a lot of all smoke, no sizzle. So I did try to put smaller teams in there. But I mean, if it's the basis of what put me through last round and then you're being consistent, I can't complain. It was a good card. I originally did think Motor City Machine Guns won when he said it. So I was like, why is he still, like, Impact still get the $4 million? Don't give a shit.
Fair.
No, good card, good laugh. Fair play, Dave.
Can't complain. But we come to David
Oh
Haughney.
no, I can, but I'm not going to do it on
I'm not
air.
gonna do it. Dave, I have to say, coming into this, I had Ross as the favourite because I thought, to be honest, I thought his was a closer match against Jack and a better match against Jack in the last round. I think you came in here, stepped up your game and improved to beat Ross today. Like, did you feel similarly? How did you feel about your performance with it?
Oh, you know what? Once I heard Ross's card, the way he booked his retired legendary tag team and the fact that he had a tournament concept, I thought, maybe simplicity would be key. But then I thought, wait a minute, no, tag team isn't just restricted to one promotion. I've got to go like big with this and try and get as many promoters, have money involved, because that's big business. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Have that story play out, but don't divert the focus from the fact that all these companies have excellent tag teams. And that was my reasoning for calling it the ultimate showcase. It's like there had to be story, there had to be good wrestling, and there had to be a massive main event with a payoff. And I'm just glad I was able to. I rewrote that card about 3 times just to try and get a good story told, and I'm glad I did so.
I think what you did well was, like I said, like what Ross did well in the last round was that story built into the show that sort of gave you a through line throughout it. And I really dug that, man. I really dug that. You'll be going on, obviously, to the final, next semi-final match. It's Stephen Wilson against Strack. Who do you want in the final? Who would you like to face? Who do you want to see there?
I want Wilson.
Oh. Why? Elaboration, please.
He's the top of the mountain on this podcast. I think it's time somebody knocked him off his perch.
Nice. So we could get it. It's either going to be David Haughney against the man who wants Stephen Wilson, or could Strack have issue with Haughney, dismissing him here? Could it be a Strack-Haughney final, which would definitely be a clash of styles as well? But I want to thank everyone. Ross, thank you very much. We'll get you back on Book It again. Get your chance at glory again, son.
Piss off. No, fair play. Fair play, guys. Good luck in the final.
And Dave, I will see you in the final. Until then, go check out all our back catalogue, Spotify, iTunes. You'll find these guys. They've been on basically every show we've done, so go and check out one of their shows, you know what I mean? Check out one of the legendary shows that they've done. Go check out other stuff on this YouTube channel. Find us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at Suplex Retweet. Until the next semi-final match, I'll say goodbye to each and every single one of you. And join us in the next instalment of Book It.